No, you resigned from this Congress, not the next Congress. Our audience is 100% behind Matt Gaetz, by the way. They are very, very upset that you were not able to get all the way to Attorney General. I have to ask, what is next for Matt Gaetz?
I'm still going to be in the fight, but it's going to be from a new perch. I do not intend to join the 119th Congress. There are a number of fantastic Floridians who've stepped up to run for my seat, people who have inspired with their heroism, with their public service. And I'm actually excited to see Northwest Florida go to new heights and have great representation. Charlie, I've been in an elected office for 14 years. I first got elected to the state house when I was 26 years old, and I'm 42 now. And I've got some other goals in life that I'm eager to pursue with my wife and my family. And so I'm going to be fighting for President Trump. I'm going to be doing whatever he asks of me, as I always have. But I think that 8 years is probably enough time in the United States Congress. You know, in Florida, our voters got to vote on term limits for state government, and the campaign was 8 is enough. And so you can only do 8 years in the Florida House of Representatives. And so it seems like a pretty poetic time to allow that great new blood to come in, to allow my district to have high quality representation. And don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not taking off for a tropical excursion for the rest of my life. I am here to help save this country. And one thing the great patriots at Turning Point know, we need people at every level. We need brilliant lawyers on the outside. We need tough congressmen and congresswomen on the inside. We need a leadership structure under President Trump that's going to allow for durability of our movement and the ability to continue this great realignment of our politics. And so I'll play a part in that. I plan to be a big voice, but maybe not as an elected member of the government. I'm great. I am so excited about where this transition stands. And I know there are people disappointed that I won't be the next Attorney General, but you have to understand this is the political process. And sometimes the path you're on is one that takes you to a different place, and it could be a glorious place. My good friend Pam Bondi is going to be a phenomenal Attorney General for Donald Trump. She has the legal acumen. She hates criminals. She is a bright legal mind and a fellow Floridian. So I think that even though the path will take me to a different station in life and a different place to fight for our agenda and President Trump, we've got a great person in place. And I enjoyed the time on the Hill, frankly, talking with senators. And we had great momentum. When people got to hear my vision for the Department of Justice, taking out the weaponization, implementing the president's immigration agenda, changing the Office of Civil Rights to actually fight for the free speech on college campuses that so many of your viewers and listeners care about, attacking the precursors to fentanyl and dismantling the censorship industrial complex, that's exactly the work that Pam Bondi is highly qualified to do. And again, while our discussions were going well, I found myself having to do 2 jobs at one time, Charlie, and you got a front row seat to this. I had a full-time job explaining to senators that maybe a tweet I sent about them was rash and not reflective of how I would serve as Attorney General. And at the same time, I was having to build out the Department of Justice with the right human talent, the right policy infrastructure. And Pam Bondi's confirmation won't have some of the sharp edges that mine would have. It won't take the same long process. So AG Bondi will be able to start implementing those Trump policies right away. So we're ready on day one.
So some of these guys, even not having a hearing, maybe not even met Matt Gaetz, they're just no's?
You know, I've read about my colleagues, some of them here in the Senate, who say we've got deep concerns. Of course, I'm reading all of the slander and garbage in the press about Gaetz and others, and this is really approaching Kavanaugh proportions. They're trying to do to him what they did to Kavanaugh. And the answer to that is let the guy speak. He deserves to be able to address this himself. He deserves to be able to lay out his vision and the president's vision for the DOJ. And I look forward to that. And listen, as I said to President Trump, I'm going to help in whatever way I can to get the president the cabinet that he wants and deserves. I think Pam Bondi is going to be great. I worked with her when I was the Attorney General of Missouri, and here's what I think we need, Sean. We need a new church committee like we had way back in the 70s that looked into the abuses of the CIA and the IRS. We need one of those now for the Department of Justice and the FBI. We need to open the books on what these agencies have done, how they've gone after Trump, how they've gone after conservatives, how they've gone after religious Americans, people of faith. We need to lay it all bare, and then we need to fire everybody involved, and we need to overhaul DOJ and the FBI, and I think Pam Bondi will be up for that task, and I hope that she will pledge right now to work with Congress to lay it all out. Let the truth be known, to get it all out there, and let's overhaul these agencies. I mean, this is a coalition that is a majority coalition. Let's not lose sight of the fact. And this is my message to all of my colleagues. Let's not lose sight of the fact that this is the leader of our party who just won a decisive victory in both the Electoral College and the popular vote. He deserves to have a cabinet that will implement his agenda and will deliver on the promises he made to the American people. And it's the Senate's job to help get him that cabinet. So let's move forward here, full steam ahead.
All right.
Here, and already politics becomes interesting again. You got to admit, if we're speaking about change in the world of politics, Donald Trump certainly seems to bring it. But of course, if you take a sharp right turn or sharp left turn, you might encounter a little bit of turbulence, maybe a couple of G-forces. And so I guess the turbulence has already started. We got a lot of moving pieces of the puzzle here, and the latest move is Matt Gaetz withdrawing his name from consideration for the role of Attorney General. And of course, face value, it's unfortunate news, and some people on the left are trying to run with it as some sort of big victory, but it might be none of those things. What it might actually be is just a pivot in the plan. Let me update you guys on everything happening surrounding this Matt Gaetz withdrawal. We've got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. Alright, so let's start off with the news.
We have breaking news this hour. Matt Gaetz is stepping down from his nomination to Attorney General of the United States. Many said this was the most contentious of the nominations made by former President Trump. And he has announced categorically that he will not be seeking confirmation to the post of Attorney General. Here are his words. I had excellent meeting with senators yesterday. I appreciate their thoughtful feedback and the incredible support of so many. While the momentum was strong, it is clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump-Vance transition. There's no time to waste on a needlessly protracted Washington scuffle. Thus, I'll be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General. Trump's DOJ must be in place and ready on day one. I remain fully committed to seeing that Donald J. Trump is the most successful president in history. Look, Griff, this was quick. I mean, the appointment came.
Matt Gaetz officially withdraws his name from the process. Donald Trump added a little bit of clarity. He wrote on Truth Social that he greatly appreciates the recent efforts of Matt Gaetz in seeking approval to be Attorney General. He was doing very well, but at the same time, did not want to be a distraction for the administration, for which he has much respect. Checkmate. Matt has a wonderful future, and I look forward to watch all of the great things that he will do. So all around, seems like it might have been the right decision in a way. I think the mainstream media's characterization as this is some sort of debacle or embarrassment for the Trump White House is a little bit of a stretch, to say the least. I personally view this a little bit differently. I view it as a little bit of an unexpected, but honestly, very classy move by Matt Gaetz. I mean, imagine being on the brink of one of the most powerful positions in the federal government to be Attorney General potentially under Donald Trump and choosing to step back because he didn't want to become too much of a distraction. It's really a decision that not many people would make. I think most people would have tried to withstand it all the media attacks and smears, and hopefully try to get nominated in the end, especially since it's mostly expected these days, following what we saw with Brett Kavanaugh. But Matt Gaetz, once again, he shows us the kind of character that he has. It seems like time and time again, when tested, he proves to do the right thing, or what he believes is the right thing, for the administration and the Trump base. And now, of course, to the obvious question, well, what happens next? I think if I were to speak on behalf of the average Trump supporter, I'd say that we're pretty excited for someone like Matt Gaetz to be the top cop in the country. And so in a way, it feels like one of those situations where there's kind of big shoes to fill. Even though Matt Gaetz never actually assumed the role, there's a certain standard or level of expectation now that the next person who comes in just has to be a bulldog, somebody willing to stand up to the Washington machine and work on behalf of the people. You know, the next name that follows here, the next nominee, needs to be not only somebody who's competent, but somebody who is fearless and deeply committed to rooting out corruption, but most importantly, somebody who has shown immunity to being competent compromised by Washington's power games. And well, literally as I'm saying this, look what's just announced. Donald Trump has already made a replacement pick for Matt Gaetz to fill this role. This is breaking as I'm recording this. You guys probably already know the next morning. But Donald Trump has officially picked the former Florida Attorney General, Pam Bondi. And already I'm seeing a flood of comments already hitting. Oh, the deep state won, the deep state won. I'm a little bit confused where this is coming from because Pam Bondi, well, she's the real deal. She's Trump all the way and has been.
When Republicans take back the White House, you know what's going to happen? The Department of Justice, the prosecutors will be prosecuted, the bad ones. The investigators will be investigated because the deep state, last term for President Trump, they were hiding in the shadows. But now they have a spotlight on them and they can all be investigated. Murderers from Venezuelan prisoners coming straight into our country. They are coming to a town near you. It should scare and terrify everyone in this country. This is just one big press conference trying to smear Donald Trump, trying to hurt Donald Trump. Listen, all the rights here, I'm a prosecutor, former prosecutor. Yeah, all the rights here go to the defendant because it's his liberty at stake, and that has not been happening in this courtroom. This case should have never, ever been brought.
You know, it seems like a lot of people are thinking that this Pam Bondi pick is some establishment pick just because she's had all the titles. I mean, she's got the accolades, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Pam Bondi has been working with the Trump administration and the Trump campaign for a very long time. She's actually been a key consultant to the president on many occasions. And so, you know, this is kind of looking like it might have been a little bit of a bait and switch. The leftoids thought it was this big victory. We're already showing up this Trump pick. We got him wrapped around our fingers. Matt Gaetz blocked. But I think Matt Gaetz might have been the bait. You know, a question that a lot of people are asking is what happens with Matt Gaetz right now? What does he do? He resigned his seat in Congress. He's now essentially a free agent. Where is he going to go? Some people have been floating that Matt Gaetz would serve a better purpose being in the public eye and possibly taking that Marco Rubio Senate seat. But Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' team has already essentially indicated that that's probably not going to happen, even though it probably would have been a legendary move. But I'm learning, or at least word on the street is, that Matt Gaetz resigned this term in Congress. That's the 118th Congress. He hasn't stepped down or resigned his position in Congress for the upcoming 119th session. In other words, this whole thing might have been an orchestrated plan where Matt Gaetz pretends like it's the real deal, folks. He's already resigned his seat. Holy moly. He really thinks he's going to be Attorney General, but it was just a bait to expose the neocons. Already, Donald Trump sees who's going to be trouble. There were 4 names released publicly yesterday. 4 Republicans who locked in that they were going to block Matt Gaetz' nomination, or rather confirmation, and now Donald Trump has essentially seen exactly what he needs to see, and so Matt Gaetz steps down, goes right back to Congress, doing essentially what he does best, holding Republican power to account. He's now exposed all the problem senators, and boom, right back to normal. All of a sudden, Donald Trump's got everybody on board for this next pick, who's obviously 10 times more qualified for the position. Sure, she's not Matt Gaetz, and Matt Gaetz is a beloved character, but if we're looking at real qualifications, I mean, she's got the goods. Plus, she's probably on the exact same agenda as Matt Gaetz. And so essentially, the leftoids are celebrating here because they stopped Matt Gaetz, but now they've got Pam Bondi, a much bigger problem to deal with. It's an interesting situation. It almost feels like psychological warfare. Donald Trump's tapping into his opponents, getting himself some crucial intel, completely playing the left and also playing the rhinos in his own party, who now all of a sudden, in stark contrast to the previous pick that we so vehemently opposed, oh, Matt Gaetz never, everyone seems to be oohing and eyeing over this Pam Bondi pick, even the establishment types. It's almost like they think it's a win for them, but this is another Trump cabinet pick that pretty much goes right along with every other, maybe excluding Marco Rubio. In other words, it's not exactly the win that they think it is, and Donald Trump seems to be running tactical, strategic circles around them. It might be one of those 4D chess moments, like, I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it too much, or maybe I'm right on the money. Honestly, this whole thing seems orchestrated. I never really saw Matt Gaetz as the type to back down from a fight, and obviously this was a fight. What they were doing to him was totally unfair, although it also wasn't exactly surprising that he would bow out and do the honorable thing. But I just didn't see him backing out from a fight, especially if he had Donald Trump backing him up. So I think the more obvious conclusion is that this whole thing was orchestrated. They knew what they were doing since day one. Call me crazy, call it a theory, whatever it is. It just seems like the most obvious conclusion, at least for me. This is no win for the left. This is Trump playing him like a fiddle. Anyways, that's pretty much.
Oh boy. Yes, indeed. And we here for it. Time to drain that thing. Drain it. Drain it. Drain it. Drain it. Bait and switch, y'all. Bait and switch, man. Again, there was the Democrats. But it's not just the Democrats. We passed them. Some Republicans we got to worry about. And everything's going to hit the fan. And it's going to be completely different this second term. I told y'all. Trump is knows how to play the game. They know how to play the game. They've already been warned. They've already had their private conversation. Yeah. So this isn't a surprise. And I know a lot of you guys, when the news came out that he withdrew, everybody was like, oh, we know what's going on now. Yeah, buddy. Rhino, the rhinos. But big things are coming, y'all. I hope y'all are ready. Prayers, because again, we don't know what to expect next, but more things are gonna be hitting the fan, as you can see. I love you guys. Y'all have an amazing rest of your day, an amazing upcoming weekend. Happy holidays to them beautiful, hardworking patriots around the world. We want our tax dollars back. Just give it all back. Trump administration, Trump and Vance, this cabinet, can y'all please go in there and just put your foot down? I mean, make this thing nice, strong, affordable, safe again. Tear down the IRS. I mean, come on now. Let's get it done. Yeah. Well, let's go back inside the grocery store. I can finally get my maintenance done. And not be worried. I can go to the gas station. Woo! I can maybe just buy me a lottery ticket since I'm at the gas station. Woo! I love y'all, man. And I'm going to catch you beautiful people in the next one, man. Peace and love, man. God is love, baby. And we going to keep spreading it.